let us lead you. If you're trolling for no reason, then we don't need you. It's Big XL, he can't be stopped. Riding dirty forever, the home of real hip hop. Ride dirty, tell me y'all can't harm me. I'm living fly in the sky with a storm. Ride dirty, ride dirty, ride dirty, ride dirty. Ride dirty, dog, but y'all can't harm me. I'm living fly in the sky with a storm. Ride dirty, ride dirty, ride dirty, ride dirty.
What up, world? It's your boy, Big XL, and this is the Riding Dirty Show, where we bridge the gap between hip-hop and everyday life, man. I gotta say one time for everybody on Bigo checking us out, please follow our page on Bigo Live. It's at Riding Dirty Radio, and that's on Bigo Live. 24 hours of live streaming. Turn your life into a reality show. Okay, all right. Let's get into it. The first thing I want to say is one time for the good people over at WRFG 89.3 FM Atlanta. Please be sure to check us out every Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, Thursday night, Friday morning from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. The world's most exciting overnight radio show all across the Atlanta. No, you know what? I'm sorry. The most exciting show overnight in the ATL. I'm not going to say the world because I don't know what everybody in the world is doing, but I definitely know we are the most exciting radio show in the ATL. Every Thursday night, Friday morning, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. Check us out. Been holding down the spot for over 15 years. Man, I've watched my kids grow up while doing this radio show. All right. Also, gotta say one time for the good people over at live365.com. All right. Last year, 2020, we decided to expand the brand, and we partnered up with Live365, and we launched our own internet radio station. All right, now, let me tell you about our station. It is Ride 95. We are what's next in hip-hop and R&B. We're breaking the new artists, breaking the new songs. We're breaking all the latest news, and we're giving you what you want when it comes to independent music and independent artists and independent news. All right, the way to check us out is easy. All you got to do is go to live365.com. That's live365.com. Be sure to go to that search engine. When you're in that search engine, be sure to type in Ride 95. Now, you're going to see over 2,000 internet radio stations. But be sure to, in the search engine, type in Ride 95. That's R-I-D-E, the number 9, the number 5. Once you type that in, click on our station logo, and there you'll have it. Music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Now, if you want to check us out via your mobile device while you're at work or doing your 1-2 thing, download the Live 365 app. Once you download that app, you're going to type in the search engine, go to the search engine, type in Ride 95, click the logo, and again, music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Please lock us in. We are the home of what's next in hip-hop and R&B. All right, now, you know what? We're going to do now what we like doing most, and that's talking to the world changers, the people that are changing the world, moment by moment, second by second, minute by minute by minute. Man, this show is the platform for those people that are changing the world, making it a better place. And today, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is no different than any other day on the Riding Dirty Show. So I want y'all to welcome to the Riding Dirty platform, Mr. Rod Jonas. What's going on, my guy?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, I am doing excellent. The first thing I want to say is, man, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on the platform to speak to our fans, our listeners, our viewers, everyone who checks out the Riding Dirty Show. We're honored to have you here on the platform to spend a little time with us.
Oh, man, thank you, man. It's definitely a pleasure and an honor, and I'm excited about the opportunity.
Okay, man. So, look, let's jump right into it, into the life of Mr. Rod Jonas. The first thing I want you to let the world know is where you're from.
I was born in Los Angeles, California. Lived in Crenshaw and in other parts of Los Angeles. And but I bounced around a lot. I kind of grew up, spent time growing up in South Florida, Miami, Broward County, Fort Lauderdale to be more specific. And then spent a lot of time in the surf cities in Southern California, Orange County. And yeah, man, that's kind of the background in terms of me and my lifestyle.
Okay, now, in going from place to place in Florida, I gotta say, what is your favorite spot in Florida?
Oh man, I gotta be blunt with this, man. It's Miami. Miami is one of those special cities, that evolves, every decade, with new nuances of culture and entertainment being integrated into the city. And I think that's pretty special. It's one of the most special cities, in the United States because it's still, maturing, growing, and becoming brand new, with each new decade that approaches us.
Okay. All right. So look, man, I want to get right into the meat of your story, and I want you to let my listeners and myself know what actually is your affiliation, or how are you affiliated with the world of dance.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I mean, my story kind of goes back, goes back into the entertainment industry. Coming out of college, out of Florida A&M University, I moved straight back to, Southern California, where, I pursued my career in, the music industry, working with artists and, doing what I can to develop, brand and grow individual brands into, mainstream, recognized brands. And in the process, just before I met the founder of World of Dance, within like the first 2 years of it being established, I was on the tail end of managing a dance crew that I helped break into the mainstream called Street Kingdom. They were the founders of crump dancing. We kind of, I worked with my boy Cesare Willis and, helped that, his dance style go global, and become kind of a cultural phenom. And in the process, I met the founder of World of Dance. At the time it was like an 8-city tour. This was like 10 years ago. He was just extremely intrigued about, how I was able to, help this dance style go viral. And in short, I ended up joining, his team and, putting together a strategy for the brand to go, viral online. Because at the time when I joined, there was like just a few thousand followers, and a few thousand, views averaging on a monthly basis on all platforms. And I was fortunate, to be able to take the experiences from helping this crump movement grow, to applying that to the World of Dance ecosystem and really just, launching, on all social platforms and, putting together a plan that helped us go viral. We brokered a YouTube deal with one of the top YouTube networks, acquired their technology and, aggregated a whole bunch of dancers under our umbrella. So I helped the company essentially grow from less than 1,000 views a month to 2.5, 4 million views a month. And then after that YouTube deal, we started averaging between 30 and 50 million views a month. And that essentially kind of put us on the map as the number one dance, brand in the world, essentially.
All right, man, that is amazing. Those are numbers that any YouTuber would die for. That's amazing. The only word I can think of is amazing, man. Just being able to grow at that rapid rate. Now, what would you contribute?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun, man.
What would you contribute most?
No, I was just saying.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just saying. Honestly, this was like 7 years ago. So to be able to, build that brand and hit those numbers 7 years ago was, that was changing. That changed the scope of who we were. World of Dance initially was an events company, and then essentially because of those new milestones digitally that we reached, we became a media company, which in turn kind of like snowballed into NBC reaching out for a TV show, which is still a great platform for our brand to kind of create opportunities for dancers all over the world to showcase their talent, because dance is one of those underrated skill sets that I hope one day will be on a platform just like basketball or baseball. That's still the dream and hope.
Okay. All right. Now, if you had to attribute that growth to one thing, what would be that number one key factor that spawned that growth you guys had?
You know how that saying goes. It's an idea whose time has come. I was fortunate to be able to put together a great strategy for the company go viral. But at the end of the day, dancers deserve all the credit. They have been underserved and underrated, for a lifetime and more. And I would attribute it to dancers really taking advantage of the opportunity to shine and not missing that opportunity. Because at every moment when I had the camera running or I put together a campaign, they brought it. And that ultimately is the number one reason, for our success.
Okay. All right. Now, you're launching a dope new concept called Miami Brand House. What exactly is a brand house, and how will creatives interact with it?
Well, brand houses aren't essentially an entirely new concept. There's like the alot house, the wish house. We've all heard of, or most of us have heard of TikTok houses where influencers get together to create content. The brand house is, I don't want to say this next level, but with all the things that I've experienced in social marketing and creating communities online, that there's one thing that one slogan and motto that we had when we were building World of Dance before we ever generated an additional view after I came on board was let's create the home for dance. And that was the mission and the goal with our digital strategy. Now with this brand house, it's very similar. The idea is simply to create a home and a destination for dance within Miami. Miami is one of those cities whose culture, embodies dance in a way that is beyond like the U.S. It's an international culture of dance, and the hope is to be able to, launch this brand house in Miami, champion dance in a new way, and create, dance in Miami, and essentially making Miami the capital of dance, featuring all dance styles from Latin to contemporary, hip hop, and any of those styles internationally that people may have never known, but would be awe inspiring if they had a chance to view it. Okay. And so the brand house essentially is a place where influencers and brands meet and are able to organically, create content around their lifestyle, so that brands can thrive, and influencers can thrive as well.
Okay. What actually inspired you to create the concept?
I would say, there was a number of, moments that, inspired the concept, beyond just my, assessment of, what in the market of lifestyle, needs to be solved. Like, when I look at social media, I'm constantly looking at, areas where, this vertical of marketing, can be improved. If any business person was putting together a business plan, they'd be asked, what are you solving? What problem are you solving with your new venture? And so essentially, there was moments throughout my life where I began to see the evolution of social media and how it impacted our culture and how it impacts our lifestyle and how it impacts our ecosystem, our social behavior, our economic behavior. And, I was working with this lifestyle company, and I was in Southern California, and there were some influencers. I was hosting a creatives retreat where I had influencers and creatives from all over fly out to Southern California. We had a weekend of activities, rented, Maseratis and Audis and McLarens. And I went to one of these influencers' houses in Huntington Beach, California, and it was a TikTok house. And as I was looking at, all of the, dynamics in this TikTok house, I recognized, that there was verticals of its model that were missing. And, as I remembered that, I just, put that, essentially in my notes for the right time and season to apply it to any special, campaign for a company that I was working for. And fortunately, time, life, circumstances, all kind of came together, kind of a bit of a perfect storm, to take advantage of, the opportunity to open up a brand house right here in Miami, with World of Dance as a key partner in it.
Okay, now, speaking of World of Dance, what role will they play in the Miami Brand House experience?
Well, World of Dance is the headlining, brand that essentially is a part of the brand house. Every brand house that I have in plan, to open within, essentially as many major cities as possible, will feature a headlining brand. And because dance is so integral into the lifestyle of Miami, World of Dance will be playing a role by cultivating and building community, almost like a bit of a fraternity, into the brand house. So every brand house will feature a community that is sold out, to that, activity. And so dance is going to be a huge part of the Miami brand house, but there will also be verticals of, of art, fashion, music, gaming, and more as a part of the house. But when World of Dance activates, the unique dynamic of how World of Dance will activate as a lifestyle company, will be things like our first annual Halloween party, happening this year as a private event, and many more, localized activation experiences that become a special addition to the city itself. So, our hope is that World of Dance will be, accepted with open arms by the city of Miami, and that the Miami Brand House will be, a bright new shining light as a great feature of entertainment to South Florida.
All right, now, have you guys picked an actual location for the Miami Brand House?
Yes, yeah. It's in Wynwood. It's not too far from Bayside, and it's in a great spot. Wynwood is becoming is rapidly becoming the new art capital of the U.S. With an annual art event called Art Basel that generates millions of people coming into South Florida to experience all different nuances of art. And so in Wynwood, the hope is for us to be able to bring the addition of dance, because dance is an art form that is very well recognized, and we hope to be able to make it a new bright spot as a part of annual events like Art Basel.
Okay. All right. Now, so basically, everything that's going to go on in the Miami Brand House is pretty much going to be blogged about. Am I correct?
Yeah. We're building the blog house to be very much a reality TV show type of experience that lives on social media through the members of the brand house. So it's not like I have a big production plan. I'm not really. I'd rather than put together a whole production, the vehicle that we're building to document everything is the number one vehicle in everyone's life from a marketing standpoint, whatever they're marketing or however they're communicating, and that's social media. So I have a unique production plan for all of our members, and that's essentially how people will be able to peer in and see what's going on inside of the Miami Brand House.
All right. Now, at this point, do you have any inklings or any ideas or any tidbits you can tell us, or who's been invited to hang out, or any celebrities that's going to make their first appearances in the Miami Brand House?
Well, I can say this, because I'm still in talks with a few high-profile celebrities that will be key to the success of the Miami Brand House. Can't really mention specifically who, but I can say there are celebrity and social icons coming from the fashion world, coming from the music world, also coming from the art world, that are looking to put their imprint on the brand house as a strategic consultant, partner, or just a figurehead, an influencer that will assist in helping create a bridge for new artists and new talent to be discovered.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the upcoming Halloween party. Are there any more upcoming activities or events you guys got planned for Miami Brand House?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we are, working with a lot of the, local, businesses. Every brand house that, I'll be fortunate to open will feature, pillars of that localized community. So there are events that we are hosting in like I said, the fashion space. So we're planning on hosting and featuring new brands and premier brands. We are planning on doing music activations with headlining artists that work with World of Dance. But we are operating and working with them more on the music side of things. as well as, events that, are really built to service the local community, as a means of networking. Networking is a massive part and dynamic of my life. And, I have found it to be, priceless. It gives me an opportunity to connect with people with a common mindset and a common goal, dreams, aspiration, grind mode. Everybody talks about their grind mode, their hustle mode. And so there will be public events, but the majority of the events will be private, and they will all be viewable on, be accessible and viewable on the website that we plan on launching pretty soon.
Okay. All right. Now, your company, TKO Brandon, actually in conjunction with the World of Dance, you guys are currently running I can never say this word, Fashionista. I can never say this word. A contest challenging creators to move in style. Amongst the prizes, $1,000 and actually an invitation to the Miami Brand House. Tell us more about this contest.
Well, I like to call myself one of dance's biggest fans. I'm not a professional dancer. I grew up doing a little break dancing, and obviously, getting to watch my boy Tight Eyes do his thing and crump. I spent a little time crumping, but when I watch dancers, I'm mesmerized. I'm mesmerized by the energy, their movement, and the dynamic of how they can translate a vision, of creativity, into a work of art, or even just convey a message with their movement. This WOD Fashionista contest is essentially just an opportunity for them to do that and more. Dancers in so many ways, are on the front lines of fashion, just like they're on the front lines of music. And so, this contest is intended to, one, create community around the clothing line for World of Dance, and the hopes that, kind of like Fubu, for us, by us, Damon John's business. We hope that the dance community will rally around World of Dance, and we can build it with them, because the winner gets an opportunity to join our creative team. If the winner is that is selected, is somewhere around the U.S., they will be flown in for an experience to hang out with our local community, and participate in private events, and then join the team and offer insight on future designs. And so it's a great opportunity for exposure, and for dancers who have a passion for fashion, to be able to break into it, through their home base of dance that we champion as a company.
All right. Now, last question: When do you expect to launch Miami Brand House officially?
Well, officially the brand house has already been launched. Right now, I'm recruiting and interviewing different influencers and leaders in different verticals of lifestyle that will be a part of the brand house, and will have opportunities to build out their dreams in those verticals of lifestyle that are native to the city of Miami, like fitness, art, fashion, music, as I mentioned. And so we are already open and operating as a private company. But our first, viral event is our Halloween event. But I will be having a private event for a lot of the partners and investors in our brand house, and that will essentially be the public launch. And then there are certain components of the brand house as a business that, once that vertical launches, those public announcements will be shared through PR and some of our strategic partners here in Miami to help get the word out, so that we can create opportunities for more people in other lanes of business and lifestyle to create greater success as well.
All right. Now, before I let you go, Rod, I gotta ask you, who's your favorite dancer of all time?
My favorite dancer of all time. It's hard for any person, who was born, in the 80s or 90s, to not say Michael Jackson, just because he's one of those guys that was born before his time. But I gotta say that my favorite dancer will always be Tight Eyes, or Cesare Willis, aka Tight Eyes, just because being able to witness how his movement, that didn't exist anywhere on the planet, was refined, year after year after year. And year after year after year, the entire, community of people who were fascinated by that style and adopted that style, still couldn't catch him. Like, he's my favorite because he's the best at what he does, and he's still doing it. And so I encourage any person who does not know Tight-Eyes to go check him out, because there's a whole world of fans that, love and appreciate what he's contributed to the dance world. And the story behind his movement is awe-inspiring. It started from the roots of, creating, better opportunities, for kids in the streets, on the streets of LA to do something other than gangbang. There's a few dancers that were a part of our, initial dance crew that left, gangs like the Crips, to join our crew and become full-time dancers. And now they're commercially recognized, and a lot of people see them on TV, but don't necessarily know where they came from. And so the life of Tight-Eyes, or Cesare Willis, has been, an inspiration. He's been, he's like a younger brother, but, and definitely my favorite dancer today.
All right. Last thing, how can people find you?
Mm-hmm.
How can people keep up with you, TKO Branding, Miami Brand House, via the World Wide Web of social media?
Well, best way to follow is at TKO Branding on Instagram, and at Rod Jonas on Instagram. If you want to check out the website, it's tkobranding.com. And, always stay tuned at worldofdance.com, because that's where, a lot of the big splashes and moves that I make with my agency, are made.
All right. Man, before I let you go, and again, thank you for coming on the show, is there anything you want to add?
Well, first off, thanks for the opportunity. I'm definitely a fan, and I'm excited about the new station. I heard you plugging, and however I could, support. We hope to have your radio station as a part of our brand house, so where we can, share a lot of the other stories of exceptional talent and exceptional people, rising from, mediocrity to that all-star level.
90 seconds.
So, we'll definitely be in touch, and I look forward to, coming on your show again sometime.
All right, Rod. Have a wonderful day, sir, and thank you for your time.
Likewise. Be easy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was Mr. Rod Jonas of TKO Branding and Miami Brand House. All right, definitely keep watching their moves on Instagram at Rod Jonas, at TKO Branding, and also watch them make their moves on World of Dance. All right,
60 seconds.
This is the Rod and Dirty Show, and we'll see you guys next time with another dope interview. All right, y'all stay black, keep it gangster, and just be a good person. Peace.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.